Hi, it's Andrea again, and welcome back to RIP 1003. Before I begin the topics for this week, I'd like to philosophize for just a few minutes because I read through your work for exercise 1.3. We now live in a pretty polarized world. The reporting of any number of issues, from politics to climate change to vaccinations, is described using the language of war, where you're either for or against, where there are two sides and you have to choose one. On a different level, every day, we're asked to click like or dislike or love or share in a series of quick judgments of others' work and, in fact, of others themselves. In short, we live in a world of constantly agreeing or disagreeing, of easy and difficult choices where we're constantly asked to take sides. That is not what I'm asking you to do in this essay that you're building. I'm asking you instead to stop, to slow down, to think and reflect about the concepts, about what you're interested in. The concepts that surfaced in that scene you wrote. And I keep asking you what you make of those concepts, what you think about them. It's not a case of agreeing or disagreeing, because you really can't. That's because concepts are things like love or family or home or trauma or togetherness, or identity, or language, or fear, or self, or vision, or memory. You can't agree or disagree with a concept. Love exists, family exists, home exists, identity exists. So does language and fear and commitments and self and vision. You can't argue with the concept. You can only explore it or define it or reflect about it. And that's your job in this essay. First, to figure out the concepts that you are fascinated about or by through rereading your scene and figuring out what main concepts show up in it. What, if any, as well, are the tensions present? Each of these concepts and the many more concepts that exist are complicated. Take, for instance, love, which has fascinated writers and philosophers for centuries. There are different types of love, different definitions of it, different responses to it. Love is complicated. So is every concept. It simply can't be reduced to like or to dislike or to either or. To do this work, you have to dive straight into the gray zone of ambiguity, that region that is nuanced and is complicated. It lives between like and dislike, yes or no. It factors in nuance, and it ponders and reflects instead of arguing or agreeing or disagreeing. Samara Hennett, Michelle Sui, Stephanie Chen, Amy Tan, Alice Walker, and Brian Doyle, any of the essays given to you as readings do just that. They explore concepts without arguing, without agreeing or disagreeing. They ponder concepts such as Tan's broken English, or Walker's conceptions of beauty, or Brian Doyle's exploration of heart, or Hennett's exploration of language and identity. Why am I insisting that you do this work, and why is it important? Because university, true academics, isn't just about learning contents, about knowing facts, and it isn't just about argument. It's about thinking, about doing the hard work of creating your own knowledge, of coming to a new understanding of a complicated, nuanced world. Agreeing and disagreeing doesn't resolve conflict. Negotiating does, and so does understanding nuance. And that's part of what we have to learn about our world. And we practice it right here in this course. And how do you do that in this essay? You begin by pulling the concepts out of your scene, the major concepts that stand out, the major themes, and reflecting about them in light of your experience or of that memory. What does it show us? Tell us. Next, you find an author whose idea is connected to your thinking, to that concept, and you add that author. Consider this step like Newman's going around or seeing in fragments and having to pull them together. You're adding another fragment of thought and knowledge to your own idea through that author. And then you add another to deepen or add to your thinking. In doing so, in adding these fragments of thinking and building on them, you create idea, one of your own. You create movement so that you're continually going around and probing a concept and different aspects of it. All the student authors in the readings do just that. But Stephanie Chen's is perhaps the easiest essay to see that movement and how it works. Chen's essay is about vision. And if you read only the line she puts in italics, you can see the movement for itself. And I will now quote those lines from her essay. Vision is a job. Vision is a study. Vision is my inspiration. Vision is not enough. And at the very end, she says, vision is our eternal identity. Chen's essay begins with the mundane, with her definition of vision as just a job that is done daily, and then it blossoms from there. Just as Newman told us to do, Chen goes around and into vision, defining it in different ways, using authors to add complexity to those definitions, thinking and reflecting and pondering. There's a shift, too, from vision as inspiration to vision not being enough, and then a marrying of vision with identity. Vision has changed from a job involving routine optometry to our perspectives on the world and how those shape our identities and what we stand up for and believe in. Chen never repeats herself. She is constantly thinking, constantly turning and pondering notions of vision throughout her essay. And that's what I want you to do in your essay, with whatever concept or concepts you wrote about in your scene. To consider definitions and meanings, to explore that concept, to keep it in front of us, and to consider its nuances, its complications, its twists, and its turns. Only by doing this work do you create idea and an essay and new knowledge. And it's something to carry with you, whether you're in first year or whether you're graduating this year. Sometimes we feel so rushed by the need to learn content and to show that we've learned it, to interpret, to write reports and more traditional arguments. Even if you're not asked to, always take the time to stop and think. What do you make of this novel or these statistics or this perspective? What do you think? I'll be talking about two more things during this lecture. First, how to create movement by smoothly integrating your sources, the authors you've chosen, because I've noticed that you need practice and you need additional strategies for doing that. And then I want to talk about how to revise like a professional to create a smooth train of thought in your writing. Thanks for listening and see you again soon.